Hello, Trinity family. My name is Deb Nielsen, and welcome to this week's Hymns of Hope. For me, one of the things that I have missed during the self-isolation and COVID-19 staying at home was the opportunity to go to worship. You know, it's one of those things we don't know that we miss until we can't do it. For many of us, our Sunday morning routine is attending church. And one of the first few weeks before Matt became our music director, I was the substitute organist for church. And I remember playing organ, sitting at the organ. The pastors were all down front, and I was in the organ, and we worshiped in an empty church. And for many of us, that is something completely different than what we're used to. Sunday morning is the opportunity when we go to worship, when we go to take that time for communion with God. Remember when we were kids in Sunday school and we did the here is the church, here is the steeple, open the doors and see all the people. Well, that's changed for us during this time. So a hymn that I thought that you may like to know the meaning of is a song that's near and dear to many of us in the North Iowa area, is the hymn that was never found, as far as I know, in a Lutheran hymnal, but the hymn is The Little Brown Church in the Vale. From the scripture we read, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, Exodus 28. The Little Brown Church in the Vale sits in a beautiful park alongside Highway 218 in the town of Bradford, near Nashua in northern Iowa, but it wasn't there when the song was written. A New York native named William Pitts was 27 years old and was traveling by stagecoach from his home in Wisconsin to Fredericksburg, Iowa, to see his girlfriend. It was a bright afternoon in 1857 when the stagecoach made a pit stop in Bradford, Iowa. Pitts took a stroll among the trees to stretch his legs. The gently sloping hills formed a slight valley, and the Cedar River flowed peacefully by. That grove of trees, it seemed to Pitts, would be the perfect setting for a church. Unable to erase the scene from his mind, Pitts returned home and composed the words and music to the Little Brown Church in the Vale. He put the song in the drawer, forgot about it. Nothing came of the song after he had filed it away. 5 years later, William Pitts, now married to his sweetheart, relocated to Iowa to be near his elderly in-laws and to teach music at the Bradford Academy in Bradford, Iowa. Imagine his surprise when he pulled into town and he saw a church building sitting in the very spot he had previously envisioned it. Christians in the community, growing tired of meeting in abandoned stores, had determined to build a church. The Civil War was raging and times were hard, but by 1862, the church building was up. They had run very short of money, and it had to be painted using the cheapest color, which was brown. When Pitts saw the Little Brown Church in the Vale, he rushed home and found that song he had filed away in a drawer among his papers. He sang his hymn at the building's dedication in 1864. Soon afterwards, he sold his manuscript to a publisher in Chicago for $25. He used the money to enroll in Rush Medical School, and William Pitts spent the rest of his life as the town physician in Fredericksburg, Iowa, about 14 miles from Bradford. Today, the Little Brown Church hosts a membership of about 100 people, but it's best known for the hundreds of weddings and thousands of tourists who flock there each year to see the church in the valley by the Wildwood, the Little Brown Church in the Vale. So today, I thought on this beautiful morning that we should sing the Little Brown Church in the Vale. There's a church in the valley in the wildwood, no lovelier spot in the vale, no spot is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the vale. Oh, come, 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 come to the church in the Wildwood. Come to the church in the vale. No spot is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the vale. We've all sang that song every once in a while, and many of us have gone to see the little brown church in the Vale. So now during these COVID-19 times, church looks a little different for us. I don't know about you, but I've been watching church in my pajamas. Sometimes I'm folding laundry. Sometimes I've got other jobs to do. And I even mentioned to Pastor Kathy a few weeks ago that the first time I was able to sit at home and see the live stream of church, that I became a little emotional because I missed my Sunday mornings in church. So church is a little different. How does your church look? Maybe it's sending an email or a text or a phone call to somebody that you would see on a Sunday morning. Maybe it's baking a batch of cookies for someone and dropping it off. All kinds of things. Church is different these days, but soon we'll all gather together. And remember, church is the people. Until next week, God be with you.